semi-finalist. It's the original K.Anderson. And his opponent from Stoke-on-Trent, England, the number 16 on the PDC Order of Merit, a former UK Open champion and a former two-time back-to-back champion of the world. It's Jackpot Adrian Lewis.
Knock out the 5th seed here this weekend. He has been throwing in patches some incredible stuff, K.Anderson. A handful of times he has broken the 107 mark in the averages. He is right up there when it comes to the level of performance, but he has not been managing to go deep into tournaments on a regular basis. Can that change here this weekend? Just a few days after a very, very disappointing early exit for the World Cup of Darts, where he and Simon Whitlock represented Australia. His teammate did come through a tough game against Nathan Aspinall earlier on, knocking out the UK Open champion. A pretty impressive display. It is Jackpot that stands in K.Anderson's way tonight.
Mansell in his opener in Zwolle last time out. For Adrian Lewis, it's the return to the scene of one of his near misses on the European Tour last year, and he had a couple of them as well, but he's off to a flyer with a 180 in this one. He was a semi-finalist in this tournament 12 months ago, losing to Mensur 7-6 in the last 4. Made the final in Gibraltar as well, and successive quarterfinals in Hildesheim, in the Dutch Darts Championship, and in Riesa. Once again, Adrian Lewis has found the 180. And he's down to 84 after 9 darts. Good, strong start by the number 5 seed, the two-time world champion, meeting business. Anderson going close.
Bullseye miss for 127 in game. Lewis is there to pick up the pieces. On the ball.
43.
Can't manage it. Both men missing the bullseye for 12 dart legs. K.Anderson has beaten Adrian Lewis before, just the once. Lost the other 3 times, but this is their first meeting for a couple of years.
Game shot in the first leg. K.Anderson, second leg,
despite some very good scoring there from Adrian Lewis with those back-to-back 180s. It's Anderson who takes the opening leg.
It could be an all-Aussie clash in the next round, because Simon Whitlock awaits the winner of this one. Yeah, Adrian Lewis run to the semi-finals here last year, was in that spell where he really was moving through the gears, starting to really challenge to pick up a title. He had to wait quite a while before he finally got over the line. 4 final appearances last year, and then it was early on this year where he won his first title for a good, pretty much 2 years.
76.
Yeah, April 2017 was his last one. And An encounter with Barney that really rolled back the years, 8-3 in the final of that Pro Tour event in Wigan in March of this year.
Good pace to this game. Adrian playing at, I know he's got various speeds at which he plays nowadays, but this looks a pretty rapid one. He's flying through these visits.
95.
He did have a really sluggish start to his European Tour campaign last year. Let's just see if Anderson can do any damage with this 145. He went for the treble 15 first of all to try and square things off. But that has got him into a really good position on the Lewis throw here. And Lewis needs this treble 19, and he finds it. He needs the bullseye again. He's missed it already, but he finds it there. 1-2-7 check out for Adrian Lewis, with Anderson ready to pounce on double 8. What a timely response that was. A stylish finish from the two-time world champion.
Superb stuff. 127 and game for jackpots.
57.
This was one of the picks of the ties in this second round action today. I do like the look of the next game. Mensur Suljovic against Gabriel Clemens as well, the defending champion taking on the German giant. But this one promises much. Both big scorers. Kyle Anderson, there's only 5 players in the Players' Championship events this year who hit 180s more regularly than Kyle Anderson does. As for Adrian Lewis, when you're looking at the sheer number of 180s hits, he's up there himself. Hit more than 100.
That title that Lewis picked up earlier this year was his 25th PDC title of his career.
Yeah, incredible haul of titles and some big ones there as well.
Yeah, he's a European Tour champion. He won the German Masters in 2012, a two-time world champion, a UK Open champion, European champion as well, let's not forget, in 2013, and a 4-time winner of the World Cup of Darts.
Yeah, well, the European Championship is the scene of Kyle Anderson's best run in a TV major. He made the semi-finals, of course, a couple of years ago, hit a 9-darter, missed match darts to make the final, as he lost to MVG. But because of his poor results so far this year on the European circuit, he's in very real danger of not making it to the European Championship this year. He's going to have to buck his ideas up, qualify for a few events, or go really deep in one of them. If you have a run to a final,
okay.
Yeah, you'll be all right. But, you know, just a semi-final may not be enough.
As Lewis himself will testify, and indeed people like Raymond van Barneveld a couple of years who've just left it a little bit too late towards the end of that particular campaign. But just £4,000 for Anderson on the European Order of Merit so far. 2 first-round defeats and a second-round exit at the German Grand Prix. So work to do.
Well, Adrian Lewis, of course, won the European Championship and then wasn't at the tournament for a couple of years. Not going to take the 149.
97.
Kyle Anderson looking to make it a 3rd consecutive hold of throw in the early stages of this encounter. Does do.
Yeah, this is a good start to this match. Nice pace about it, as you say. Lewis making his return to the European Tour this weekend. He was an absentee in the previous tournaments in the Dutch Darts Masters in Zwolle. But a couple of quarterfinals and a semi-final so far this year on the European stage.
66.
Still feels if he can get his pace of play right, he may be able to return to the top 4 in the world rankings. 16th at the moment on the Order of Merit. It's a big ask for Adrian Lewis, but if anyone can, he can.
60.
Well, that's it. Look, he won that title earlier this year. And, yeah, he's been doing bits. He's been making quarters and semis and things like that as well around that title this year. It's not been explosive. You're not immediately thinking of Adrian Lewis. If you say, look, who've been the best players this year, Adrian Lewis is not one of the ones that immediately springs to mind.
The ones that do, MVG, White, Price.
And, you know, Rob Cross hasn't won a title. He's still been playing some great stuff, made finals and such. You know, Nathan Aspinall is one of the guys you might look at as being one of the best players this year. But the thing is, Do you want to go up against Adrian Lewis at things like the World Match Play? You don't, because you know what he's capable of. We saw him at Ali Pali. He lost to Michael van Gerwen, but I tell you what, there was a spell there where he was having a real good go at him. As he looks at double top to level this game. Good guide. Doesn't really use it, but he finds the target anyway.
He's a great player to watch as well as Adrian Lewis.
Well, I certainly think he's... when he's playing at this pace, it's reminiscent of the old jackpot, and they're currently clacking along just shy of the 100 average, these two. It's a good, absorbing game. And with their ability to just burst into devastating scoring form, at any moment this game could just ignite, and we see, you know, a string of 12 and 11 dart legs between these two. They've got that capability.
93.
Well, Kyle got his campaign underway yesterday, beating Mike De Decker's 6-2 in his opener. 94 was the average. 6 out of 13 on his doubles.
99.
George Kennington and Simon Stevenson, the men he beat in qualifying to get here. But he has found qualifying for these Euro Tour events hard to come by this year.
138. Kyle will require
138 gets Lewis down to a finish, but Anderson is there first on 130, and he finds the treble 20 as well. And he finds the single 20 to leave the bullseye once again. Both players having a good look at the bullseye in the early stages of this one. But Lewis has an outside chance, and if he wants to go and finish this off, he will need the bullseye, but he doesn't get the opportunity.
84.
Well,
Kyle will require 25.
Picked off 25 in the opening leg with very little bother. Same story here, and it's another 14 dart leg for Kyle Anderson. 5 legs, every single one of them a hold of throw. Anderson's average has just
38.
crept over the 100 mark. This is what we want to see from the original. We know he's got this game. We know he's got the ability to throw big averages and score loads of 180s and win titles. He's done it. Former Auckland darts master, winner on the Pro Tour. He's looked very, very likely to win a European Tour event at times. Remember in Austria, the one that Phil Taylor won, his last ever European Tour title. Kyle Anderson missed the opportunity to beat the power, and he was looking like the best player that day, having already beaten Michael van Gerwen in that tournament, but he didn't go on and convert it. And there have been a few instances of that in Kyle Anderson's career. Things like the European Championship, where it looked all set for him to go and claim a first major title. It didn't happen.
58.
Well, 181 after 9 darts for Lewis. It's not happening for him in this leg, and Anderson is sensing a real opportunity to steal a march on Lewis with a break of throw in this 6th leg.
$66.
Well, he levels it off at 200. Adrian isn't going to leave a finish from here, so Kyle Anderson knows 2 visits to see off 200 to get the first break of throw and open up a bit of a lead. Wants to stay on the treble 20, really, but he's forced to move to the 18s, and it works out well for him.
Yeah, switching to very good effects, leaves himself 72. Now, what can Lewis do here with this 260?
60.
Not a great deal. He too is down to 200.
72.
And this is your potential first turning point in the match, first real turning point in the match. Double 12 for Anderson. Double 12 it is, and it is 4-2, and for the first time we have a break of throw, and daylight is established by the original 5 holes of throw, followed by that all-important break. What has Lewis got in response?
Looking good here, Kyle Anderson. Nice to see. He's had various problems over the last 18 months. He had problems with his vision. He was very, very concerned about how that could impact on him. He's moved. He was in Nottingham. Now he's moved over to Derbyshire. Set himself up there. He is a guy who does struggle being on the other side of the planet from his friends and family. And it does get to him. He struggles with that. He's talked very openly about it. When he's in form, when he's playing well, when he's playing like this, Kyle Anderson, all those sacrifices that he's made to follow this dream of being a dart player, it just vindicates those decisions because he really does look like he could achieve anything.
Yeah, and he's got time on his side as well. He's been around for ages, it seems, but he is still only 31.
He is 31, but at the same time, Kyle Anderson's a guy who he doesn't want to be over here forever. He wants to come over here, achieve what he believes is possible, and then get back to Australia and watch his boy grow up. He feels that there's always a ticking clock, and he needs to make this work. And when he's playing, you know, there has been some good stuff this year. He's got to strike while the iron is hot and convert that decent form into victories, into title wins that open doors to invitational events. And this is a chance to go 5-2 up.
Big visit for Kyle Anderson. Just the one dart in hand at tops, with Lewis looking at the same target, and Lewis will look at that target because Anderson has missed it. There's slips from Adrian Lewis after that first dart. Oh, and that was some way off the double 10 bed as well.
Really, some of the poorest darts Adrian's thrown in this game.
Oof.
That might have done him a favour.
Yeah, clattered out of the board, but as you say, it could have been a blocker.
20. Required 10.
4 darts now missed for a 5-2 lead. Is that a turning point? Break back Adrian Lewis.
Well, the last 2 legs of this match have yielded 2 big turning points. 4 missed darts, as you say, for a 5-2 lead. The break of throw in the first place, but that has been rendered null and void now. Lewis, though,
100.
only scoring 36 with his first visit in this 8th leg. Mencio Sulovic, the defending champion, on the way next against Gabriel Clemens. Another German, Martin Schindler, to face the man of the moment on the European Tour, Ian White, in our penultimate match. And we round things off with Michael Smith's encounter against the number 16 seed, Jermaine Watimena. Here and now, Lewis fighting hard to get back on terms at 4 apiece.
Just seeing signs of frustration from Adrian Lewis. The start of this game, and he piled in 2 180s in the very first leg, and it was just looked like Adrian Lewis was going to have one of those days where he just flows through a game and it all looks so natural, but it's just stuttered a little, this performance.
Yeah, another shake of the head. Oh, yeah. Peter Wright, echoes of last weekend.
Oh, the old heat map shot. Look at the heat map there. That's a great visit, but unfortunately it's just the wrong side of that wire. That's not.
Advantage Anderson once again, just about. It all depends on this Lewis visit. That's more like it. Adrian Lewis needed that. Still very difficult to call this. Wouldn't be surprised if Anderson pounced here for 130.
Oh, that's an awkward one. Wonder dart.
Finds a way through. Bullseye again.
83. 80 requires 60.
It has been the story of the match. These missed darts at bullseye early on in particular, and once again there it was the case.
3 times in this match, Kyle Anderson has had a dart at bullseye for a combination checkout, and he has missed all of them. But the 2 previous ones he was allowed back to the board. Lewis does not allow Anderson back, and we have a level game once more.
140.
Checkout's like 130 on the ball, or 127 that Kyle Anderson missed in the very first leg. They are ones, you don't expect you're going to take them out every single time. But if you've had 3 goes at them in a game, you're expecting one of them is going to go. And K.Anderson has not been able to take any of them out. He might have to take out a check-out along those lines. He's going to get the win and set up a clash with his World Cup of Darts partner Simon Whitlock for a place in the quarterfinals. Good use of the 54 again from K.Anderson.
Very good indeed, K.Anderson. Started off with a ton force, he wobbled with the 41, but back in the hunt once again after that particular visit. That 127 checkout coming in leg 2 for Adrian Lewis to level things up at 1 apiece. But a lot has happened since then.
Absolute Rob Cross stuff on the treble 18 from K.Anderson this evening. Oh, look at this! Can't miss it!
It's a good weapon to have, a good plan B for K.Anderson.
Kyle requires 64.
Huge moment. Only going to get 1 dart. The target is double top.
44. And he require 122.
Well, Lewis being Lewis, you just wouldn't be surprised. Treble 18 to leave the bullseye.
Always tricky after that first
Kyle
dart.
will require 20.
K.Anderson to go within a leg of the final day. Cannot miss inside.
10 score.
You can't miss outside with both of them either, Kyle. And again, he has missed 4 darts to win this leg.
Lewis on tops.
48.
And once again, the finishing lets him
Kyle
down.
will require 10.
Well, these two were just motoring along in the early part of this game, but it's got a little bit nervy towards the end, and that was a very nervy dart.
Oh.
And that's a dreadful one.
And he required 20.
Well, the averages are going out the window here. Adrian Lewis comes inside for double 5 as well, but this time Lewis finds double 5. No mistake with that one for Adrian Lewis. And somehow he leads 5-4, but K.Anderson must be reflecting on that particular squandered opportunity, and also will be reflecting on what might have been.
Well, I said that K.Anderson could end up paying the price for missed darts at bullseye, but in actual fact, it's the outer ring that has really cost him now. He had 4 darts to win the 7th leg. He had 5 darts at double in that leg and should have had another one, but bust his score. He has only got himself to blame. He has been the aggressor. He's been on top for most of this match, but he has allowed Adrian Lewis to take this 5-4 lead.
More nervy stuff here. 45 plays 30, and Anderson with 23 on the board so far. 3 visits to forget in this 10th leg. At last we have a treble, and we have another one. And Lewis now.
This one's really going to hurt K.Anderson because he was playing so well for the opening 6 legs of this game, 6-7 legs in fact. And then he has started to miss doubles, and he has not been able to stop. And he's put himself in a position here where he'll be furious that he's 5-4 down, and it's just infected the rest of his game. And he cannot get back what he had earlier on.
Well, he's missing doubles and he's missing trebles now. That's 4 visits in this leg without a single treble. 45, 43, 56 and 40. Lewis himself isn't really covering himself in glory in this leg either, but it's doing more than enough. Still no treble for K.Anderson in this leg. Treble 18. 15th darts, but you suspect the damage has been done, don't you?
Adrian Lewis cannot understand how he has not given himself match darts in that visit. He will come back and get a couple, or he should do at least.
I'd like to think so. The way this leg has astonishing. Anderson got down to a position where he could challenge this woeful start to this race. 14 darts without a trouble for Anderson. He's in the frame if Lewis fails to find tops. The finishing has not been convincing from either player today, and once again Lewis finds the double deserting him.
K.Anderson could have given up in this leg because he was way, way back. But Adrian Lewis, it's his turn to mess about. And K.Anderson, a chance. He'd throw for the match in the final leg. If he pins the bullseye, he keeps on missing it. And he misses it again for the 4th time in the match.
Required 20.
And that single 7 makes things a little bit more awkward as well. But it doesn't matter because Adrian Lewis steps up, pings the double 10 at the first time of asking. But I tell you what, Adrian Lewis will really have to sharpen up tomorrow against Simon Whitlock. There were patches early on from both players where they produced some really telling stuff. It ticks over at a really good pace. But a word in the ear there for K.Anderson, who will reflect on a bitterly disappointing outcome to that match. He had chances. He had 4 missed starts for a 5-2 lead. That was the big turning point. And Adrian Lewis just about had too much in hand. But it was far from convincing. But Lewis is through to the final day on the European Tour. A semi-finalist here 12 months ago. He's into the last 16 once again. Adrian Lewis wins against K.Anderson.
Ladies and gentlemen, show your appreciation for the original K.Anderson. It's a win, but it wasn't really.
I mean, obviously I had 2 180s in one leg. It was just confidence. I've been away with the kids. We've been away for 10 days, so I've only had like a couple of days practice before, coming here. That's no excuse, man. I thought I should perform better, and I just like to say, hopefully I'm better tomorrow.
I mean, normally when you're on your best game, we know that it seems effortless to you. It just comes to you. What would you say? What's lacking from your game at the moment? Because right now it seems like hard work up here.
Practice, obviously, like I said there. I mean, I've had 3 weeks off where the other boys have played World Cup. They played in Zwolle last week. Unfortunately for me, I couldn't attend Zwolle because I had to go with my wife for an hospital appointment. So that's more important to me than obviously playing darts. But I've turned up there. I've had a couple of days practice, and I've got the job tonight. Fortunately enough, so it's one of them things where you just got 6 on the chin. The 8 wasn't great, but you've got to keep moving forward. And I've played a lot better and lost, and I played a lot worse and won. So,
Edwin, best wishes to your wife and best of luck to you in the 3rd round of this tournament.
Thank you.